SoFloRadio.com, and SoFloTelevision.com. Since the dawn of civilization, the elusive quest in pursuit of the perfect drink continues to evolve. Now more than ever, we reap the rewards of this passion. The perfect vintage, the finest brew, or a spirit of optimum age and class. And now, SoFloRadio.com invites you to discover the wonderful world of booze by the glass.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to By the Glass. I'm your host, Brett Hubbard, welcoming you to explore the wonderful world of wine, beer, spirits, and everything in between, joined by my guest host, Jason.
Hey, how's it going?
I've been crazy bad on the board.
Yes, I am.
And I'm so excited to have Mr. Danny James and his lovely wife, Justine, in the studio. She's semi in the studio over here. And from the Semper Fi importers and their wonderful brand, the Medio and Medio. Welcome to By the Glass.
Oh, thank you very much. Good to be here.
It's a pleasure because not only are you someone who served our country in the Marines, which is extremely important. We just had Veterans Day just passed,
Marines, right?
and we can't thank you enough. And we're big supporters
Close.
of everybody who goes over
I'm a
there.
Marine.
It takes time to take care of us, but also comes back with such great knowledge and great wines.
Well, you might be a little bit off on the knowledge, but I definitely found some jewels on the wine.
Well, I like to consider that you have knowledge because you have good taste
No,
to find great products from a blossoming area of the world. Not really known by many, but here's the thing. When it comes to these parts of the world, and we're talking about Uruguay, folks. He was in Uruguay when he found these wonderful wines. And let's face it, some of the hottest trends in the market are South America, Chile, Argentina. These are blowing up country, blowing up regions, and I think Uruguay is next. And for you to see that,
You're exactly
takes
right,
a lot
Brett.
of forevision.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've watched their neighbors bring old world vines into the new world, do very well with them. Change some things domestically and then get them on the international stage and do very well. So they have two examples that they've been able to watch over the past decade or two, if you're talking about Chile.
Yeah.
So they're trying to follow suit for sure.
That's great. So tell me a little bit about yourself, being a Marine, the Semper Fi, imports and distribution. Where did that all come about? You had to start somewhere.
Well, as with most people, I can talk for a while about myself. So please cut me off if I get to that point. But before I start, one of my Marines had once told me I had the gift of gab. So the gift of gab. I don't know if it was a compliment or what it was, but Brett, please, if I get too long-winded.
It's a talk show, so
or if I'm
I
keeping
usually
us
allow
from,
people to
if I'm keeping us from drinking, please please
I don't
definitely.
think you could keep George from drinking if you tried.
No,
we have open bottles on
and
the table.
people have
chained his hands to the bench or something.
No, I
That's
still
amazing.
I got a straw in my pocket.
I think he was getting a
give
little
him
head
5
start
to
over
7
there,
minutes
too.
of talking.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
please go ahead.
No, but I've been in the Marines since 2003 and had a great career in the Marines. Really enjoyed my career in the Marines. I had the pleasure and opportunity to serve down in Uruguay as part of the Marine Embassy Security Detachments. While I was there, I was introduced to some things I wasn't expecting to find, particularly by Marines, to introduce you to a wine. Might not seem the normal thing, but sure enough.
All walks of life. All walks of life.
It did have alcohol in it, and the Marine Corps was founded in a tavern. So,
There you go.
you know. But at the Mercado del Puerto in Montevideo, they said, sir, we really want to show you something. And, you know, it took about 3 bottles later, and then I was like, what is that?
Now, the Mercado de Puerto in Montevideo is in Uruguay. It's the main
Correct.
center,
Correct.
the main
That is
capital.
that is the capital of Uruguay.
Explain to me a little bit about the city. Talk to me a little bit about Uruguay. Your experiences there, as far as is it beautiful, mountainous, the river that runs through it, the people, the culture. Talk to me a little.
You know, through my travels, it definitely has that European feel. I
Oh, it
mean,
does.
most of the immigrants coming over in the 1800s. It's the smallest country in South America. It's also some of the most politically and economically stable countries.
Oh, that's great.
So it's really ahead of its time in many ways, and it's very small and it very nice people and a great,
Fun-loving culture.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very nice people and very welcoming, and they have some great products.
We had a winemaker in from the Salta region, which is on the opposite side of the country. But he said the same thing. He said that Salta is just an absolute paradise in the summertime. Everybody's coming in and partying. And
Absolutely.
the seasons are switched, correct?
Absolutely. Southern Hemisphere seasons are switched, so while it's cold up here, you can be going down there for Punta del Este is their big tourist spot. I mean, behind some of the Brazil cities, but Punta del Este is one of their big tourist spots, and the beaches are
Beautiful, huh?
yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about the beaches. Waves rolling in, craggy rocks.
Yeah, definitely get in
bluffs,
some surfing down there. The beaches are big.
California-esque.
Yeah, it was on Wild on E, so you know they have
I heard that it was also on the Anthony Bourdain show, that region there. He went there.
absolutely.
If it's okay for Bourdain, it's okay for us, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
and they have great vineyards all around. So they
Talk
got
to me
that
about
marine
the
climate.
vineyards in your experience. Are they beautiful clothes? Do they run down hills? Or what's the soil makeup? Is it mostly sand, mostly clay? Have you seen?
Mostly clay-based soils.
Okay.
You got the
Which works nice with some nice red grapes.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
You have the cooler evenings. You got the warmer days.
Microclimates, dynamic microclimates.
Absolutely. You got the maritime climate, which is going to give you those breezes off the sea, kind of like the French Bordeaux, or the Tannat grape, which will come up
Very
later.
nice.
Came
Very
from.
nice.
So their climate was really ideal for it, and it falls in that prime spot between the 30 and 35th parallel with all the great southern hemisphere wine regions.
And the Europeans brought their rootstock, similar to Argentina and
Yes,
Chile.
they did. Yes, they did. Most
So
of them coming over. They have over 250 years of tradition in Uruguay, but
Uh-huh.
most of it dating back to the ancestors before they actually came.
They brought
and
them
immigrated over.
They brought them on the ship with them.
Absolutely.
And what's the disease like over there? Is it fairly disease free? It's like the rest of the
people?
No,
Or-
the vines. Well, your wife's sitting right there, so we're not going to talk about that now. I'm just kidding.
Okay. I know that a lot of them pride themselves on how natural with their climate.
I do see on some of these bottles the
sustainably
Sustainable,
grown.
yeah.
that's
Absolutely.
phenomenal. That's something we'll get into a little
And their
bit.
climate allows them to do that, and they don't
Well,
have to use
the
a lot
reason
of
I talk
pesticides.
about this is the disease, the louse disease, the phylloxera, is a devastating aspect of the wine business. As a matter of fact, Bordeaux is having its worst year since I think about 1912, when they had a devastation of phylloxera. It's a louse.
I saw that on the news.
That's new knowledge for me.
That it's a
Be
bug
smarter
that
tomorrow.
eats away at the vines. Well, there's pests are grapes are an agricultural product, and pests are a big part of that, and they are with everything that we eat, and that's why organically sustainable. It's hard to do because in order to keep those pests off your product and your crops, and not douse it with a ton of chemicals, it's something that we deal with in the modern day world. And the fact that I believe that Chile is one of the best areas for not having the pest problems that they do, because it's bordered by the Pacific and it's also bordered by the Andes. So it's two natural barriers,
Absolutely.
and then there's not a lot of influx. So that's why there's like Latour moved down there and he does Las Vascos. and it's one of his. I think about 25 years ago he moved down there, and he did so just for the fact that the disease-free aspect of it.
Oh, that's
so I believe that's probably. I
wonder
know
if the
Argentina
Rio
doesn't
Plata-
have.
I wonder if the Rio Plata and the Atlantic Ocean does a similar thing with the
it's
barriers and why they
because
do
people
that.
don't realize you could. I know in 1912 it was maybe it was a little earlier than that. I believe it was the late 1800s in Bordeaux. They had to replant everything on American rootstock, and basically we've had to replant American. People don't talk about. Turn of the century, and we weren't really producing great wines in Napa and Sonoma at that time in California, but people don't talk about the devastation there. Disease is a big part of it, so that's something you might want to look into in the future. Next time you're down there, talk to some farmers.
Absolutely, I will
because
definitely talk to some.
People
of our
don't realize
suppliers.
that farmers grow grapes.
Yeah.
Winemakers make wines. Some people import, some people are negociants. There's so many different levels to the winemaking business.
But it
Have you
definitely starts at the cult.
But it
at the-
starts right there in the ground.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's drink before George kills me over here.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the lineup.
Okay.
Now, I know that Medio and Medio. Talk to me about the name and the concept. I want to know about the national drink of Uruguay.
You definitely. This is definitely the one that we're most proud of. This is the one that got us to do this crazy entrepreneurial idea. We were down there at the Mercado del Puerto bringing us back, and like I said, three bottles later, it was like, this stuff's awesome. We brought a few bottles back to the States and then went to the local wine store. They didn't have it. Looked online. We're like, why don't they have this awesome wine here in the United States? And that was either some people can relate having an idea over drinks. Most people aren't either stupid enough or crazy enough to act on it. But
I often say to me, a lot of wine importers. I mean, it's a lot of red tape, just the legalities of it all to import something such as alcohol and the alcohol laws in America.
So let me take you through that.
Right.
2008, we were down there drinking it and fell in love with it.
Right.
So the idea over drinks came up in 2008. That continued for about 6 months over more drinks.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, it was my business partner, Ed, who is a little bit more risky and the entrepreneur. And
Does he have two first names as well?
He does not. He does
Danny
not.
James, two first names.
But yeah, he went down there and he ordered 100 bottles. So I was like, okay, I guess it's go time.
So
and,
basically
he was drunker than
he
you.
met with the supplier
and brought it in a
Yeah.
container.
He met with the suppliers that actually made Raldos Medio Medio, which that means a lot to Uruguayan people because Raldos is the premier Medio Medio served at the Mercado del Puerto. And after we brought in 100 bottles, I was at Nova getting my MBA. So taking a marketing class. So next thing
Great
you know,
school, by the way.
I had a great new project.
That's fantastic.
That became my
Segue
project.
a little bit back into the Medio and Medio and being the national drink. Obviously, for those of you that are language handicapped at home, it means half and half.
Absolutely.
And half what? Talk to the people.
Okay. Half Pinot Blanc, half Moscato Sparkling. And
Interesting varietals.
Yeah, very.
Why?
Well, you got the Moscato sweet, and then you also have the dry. So, I mean, when you blend the two, people say Medio Medio. It's like a champagne, or I should say sparkling wine mixed with a still wine, and that's
Right.
where it gets a lot of its balance, its characteristics, and
Do you know
its
another part of
versatility.
the world where they blend a sweet and a dry wine, which is very, very
I don't.
popular?
I'm looking forward to learning.
The Sauternes region
Okay.
of Graves in Bordeaux, which is Semillon and Sauvignon Blanc, is a very well-known area. It's called Bordeaux Blanc. And Bordeaux Blanc is a blending of sweet and dry wines because you have one that's very austere and one that's very supple, and you put them together and they make a beautiful marriage. So these guys, they're right. I'm sure that they take a lot of their inspiration from their European heritage.
No, very much so, and it's in
Perfect.
everything they do with their wines. So that's very true.
And this the actual blending of the grape and the style is the national drink of the Uruguay. Correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Medio Medio to Uruguay as tequila is to Mexico, or Pisco Sour is to Peru or Chile.
Or
and
Pabst Blue
Pisco.
Ribbon is to Pittsburgh. Yeah.
there
Milwaukee.
you go.
Pisco is an interesting spirit that Ed, I want to do a Pisco show. So if you're listening at home, I want to do a Pisco show. So we need to reach out to some
And a
people.
Braggot show.
All right, but Pisco first because it's a very interesting spirit. So basically, I mean, this is an amazing thing. Tell me about this specific one. How many different blends of Medio and Medio? Is there one that's a little dry,
There-
like a demi-sec, a brut, that type, extra
There
dry?
are. There are
similar to the French designations.
Yes, there are different Medio Medios down there in Uruguay. As I mentioned, the Raldos was kind of the creme de la creme, being down there in Mercado del Puerto. We're the ones that kind of decided that we were
Well,
going to repackage it.
Those are
you
the
know.
brands, but I mean
These
the
are the-
actual blending styles.
Oh, the blending
so
styles.
when I put my nose
To be
in-
honest, I'm not
Okay,
completely
no problem.
sure with
Let me
the
give
other.
you my 2 cents here. When I put my
Please do.
nose in the first one that you handed me, the which was
the
we
Medio
tried-
Medio Blanco.
the Medio Blanco. Now that was a semi-sweet. Now right off the wonderful yeasty notes, excellent biscuit notes, which is what you're looking for in a sparkling. That means the just a wonderful yeast propagation. But what I really took me aback was the Moscato. And when I put my nose in there, I wasn't expecting it, and it comes through beautifully. It's a floral note that really just ekes its way up through the yeast notes, and it just kind of sits there in a second level of just, it's beautiful. And it was wonderful. Now, when I put my nose in this one, I don't get that. Okay,
Yeah.
this one here, I get a little bit more dry notes. I get those apple, crisp, pear, really drier type of fresh acidic fruits. So I'm thinking that this
Hibiscus
is the
and
drier
tropical.
one.
I really like the
Exactly.
tingle, the tongue tingle
Absolutely.
on this. This is-
Absolutely.
There's a party in my
the
mouth.
bubble,
About
the
the
bubbles
blend.
dancing on the tongue.
Yeah, they are.
What's the blend on this one? Is it in the notes?
This is actually 50% Moscato,
Okay.
approximately 40% Pinot Blanc, and 10% Chardonnay.
So it's the Chardonnay that makes it a little drier and gives me those apple notes.
Right.
A little bit more Pinot Blanc. It gives it a little bit of a drier acidity, too, and the Chardonnay as well. Now, being from the New World, most of these grapes are very fruity, and the way that they attenuate them, that means that the fermentation, how much they allow it to ferment, and how much residual sugar they allow to have in the wine, they're generally a little fruitier, a little bit more New World, and what they call fresh fruits.
Yes.
Old World tends to be a little bit more dry fruits.
Given its fresh
Your Chardonnay
finish.
in,
Yep.
in Bordeaux, your Chardonnay in Burgundy is going to be very acidic, and it's going to be more structured in minerality. Whereas these New Worlds, these are coming through with wonderful fresh fruits. What do you guys think of this wine?
I'm liking it.
Delicious.
Absolutely wonderful. Now, are
They
these
already
some of the
finished it.
first ones you tried?
Yeah, these were the ones that we actually started the business, and
Okay.
this is why we actually went forward. And you mentioned the Moscato. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to mention that one of the things we're most excited
think-
about is the
I
Moscato
think that's
is
the
one of the
signature
hottest
here.
varietals
It
in
really is.
2012.
It is.
And we embrace that,
Yeah.
And as I'm bringing in Uruguayan wines, many people are like, where, sometimes I have to pull out a map.
Well,
But
you know
once
what?
they actually recognize that Moscato,
You know when they're
they
going to
really-
recognize it, Danny, is when they pull out their pocketbook.
Yeah,
Okay, they're going to pull
absolutely.
out their wallet. Why? Because from what I know, and we talked about this a little bit before the show, is that when you have something that's very high quality, such as this, and it comes from an area such as Uruguay, where it might cost a little bit less to produce, what are you going to get? You're going to get great value.
Absolutely.
And a quality product with great value is what people are looking for in the marketplace.
Right, and they're paying a little bit less for this sparkling Moscato than they would maybe
Well,
one from Italy and so
Exactly.
On and
So,
so forth.
I mean, for people at home that don't know, a lot. I mean, basically, Martini and Rossi, or something like that would be an Asti Spumante. Now, in that Asti region of Italy, they harvest the Moscato grape, and it's a sparkling wine. A Spumante means a sweeter, Moscato, because they can make them dry and blend them with different grapes. But that's generally from that region, and that's the flavor you're going to have. Now, if you've ever had Moscato, grows in many different. They grow Moscato in the south of France. They grow Moscato in Alsace, and it's one of their 5 noble blending grapes. But they dry it all the way. But they make it all the way dry. So therefore, there's different ways to produce Moscato. But it is a wonderful grape that has a tremendous amount of, really a tremendous amount of mouthfeel. It has a tremendous amount of actual floral notes. And if you look at the floral notes, there's not many whites that give off a beautiful floral bouquet like the Moscato. The one I can think of from the Southern Rhone is the Viognier. And it gives me that Viognier beauty and lushness, but it also, the blending that you have going on here with this nice. Now, the Pinot Blanc, the secondary, it's not a Sauvignon Blanc. Now, Pinot Noir, as people well know, is a very fickle grape that's not easy to grow. Those microclimates play a huge role in the Pinot Blanc because, after all, it is Pinot, which is the root element of the varietal. And for them to produce a wonderful Pinot and have all the nuances and the dry, nice acid notes that come out of that to balance this Moscato, I think they're doing a wonderful job here.
No,
And,
I
that's-
agree.
It's fantastic.
You know,
Indeed.
I would say, Brett, you know, it's not just because it has the tradition and history. You know, there's not many things that people drink all the time just because it has tradition and history. It's because they have done a really good job with this.
Yeah, absolutely. No, this is very well made wine, and you can tell right off the bat. I mean, I sat there, I looked at it and sniffed it for about 10 minutes before I even drank it, and I got most of my information off of it before I even put it to my lips. So it's very wonderful.
You're so sophisticated.
Oh, I am so not. Anyway, so we're going to take a break, and we come back. We're going to try a bunch of great wines. And what I'm really, really excited about is the Tannat and the Tantara, that are part of the line. He's got some really wonderful, specific single vineyard designations here that are they're thrilling, and I can't wait to get to them. When we come back on By the Glass on SoFloRadio.com.
Breaking terrestrial radio balls. SoFloRadio.com. Put a team of professional consultants behind your home or business computer with Key Information Solutions, providing solutions to your internet and computing needs while keeping you on the cutting edge of technology. Preventative maintenance and networking support, hardware and custom-built computers. Let Key Information Solutions be your personal tech staff for your home or office with affordable hourly, monthly, or annual rates to fit anyone's budget. Call Key Information Solutions now. 954-973-3374. That's 954-973-3374. Or visit keyinformation.com.
Strawberry patch and smoothie.
Get your hands off me!
Huh?
I said don't touch me!
I shouldn't have went to that party last night. Now I'm seeing talking fruit.
You're not dreaming, Bub, and you're not putting me in that blender.
But you're just a fruit.
Who you calling a fruit?
You are. You're a delicious passion fruit.
Why, sure, I'm passionate. How would you like to be blended, huh? I got right, you know.
Customers waiting. You gotta go.
Yeah, but wait, you can...
At Power Smoothie in Aventura, we show fruit no mercy. Always fresh, always delicious. To make the best smoothies and wraps on earth, try our new cilantro lime-alicious wrap or our hot chipotle chicken. Power Smoothie in Aventura, located just north of the Aventura Mall in the Promenade Shops. Or call 305-792-5338. Open 7 days a week.
CBC5 is the executive liaison for all your building compliance needs. Serving South Florida from the Palm Beaches to Key West, CBC5 delivers 5-star service that brings...
what's this ABC or BDQ or whatever?
CBC5. It stands for Complete Building Compliance.
Oh, I ain't building nothing, so what can they do for me?
Well, they do more than plan review and permitting. They help the little guy cut through red tape.
I got duct tape holding together my carport.
Well, CBC5 can help. Let them deal with bureaucrats. They helped George Rodriguez solve a sewer lateral problem, and they saved him a ton of money and hassles.
By City Hall, who can do that?
CBC5 can do that. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a commercial to finish. Contact Shoddy the Hottie at CBC5 786-255-3851 or log on to cbc5.net. That's cbc5.net.
All systems are functional.
And you pass the reins to Mr. Jackal, the new king of radio.
Is there life on other planets?
This is nuclear physicist Stanton Friedman, and now I'm a voice in the Jackal's head.
Is the government keeping secrets from us?
This is Stephen Bassett, and I am now a voice inside the Jackal's head.
Want to find out more? Listen to the Jackal's Head on the Super Media Network.
The biggest trick the Jackal ever pulled was to convince the world that he doesn't exist.
And now we return you to By the Glass.
Hey everybody, welcome back to By the Glass. And we're having a wonderful time here. It's an unbelievable show. We got Danny James in from Semper Fi Imports, and he's talking to us all about really cool wines from Uruguay. And the thing about Uruguay is that it's one of those really great undiscovered countries. Literally.
Absolutely, Brett. Yeah.
And there's nothing but good things to come from here. And we're talking about the grapes and the blending, and the Medio Medio is actually the national drink. How does that translate that it's the actual national drink, but you can just use that on the. I mean, it's also a wine style varietal, kind of like Chardonnay or Bordeaux type of thing.
Right.
It doesn't have a region to it, does it?
Well, Medio Medios are sourced from different regions. And,
Okay.
and
That's very interesting because technically
they call them departments.
Departments. Usually when you have a grape, a region like I said, Bordeaux, it'll say Bordeaux on the label. Or if it's a vineyard within Bordeaux, you get more specific, right? Certain plot.
Right.
First growth.
Right.
So on and so forth. I've never really seen a wine that's named after like a style, but not any certain geographical specific.
And
you know what I mean?
Exactly. But that was kind of being first to market with it, with the U.S. And when we did it, I mean, we even did the trademark and all that work because, wow.
Theo just whacked his head on the thing. You guys put that at home?
Another one down.
But, that was part of the initial phase as we were putting the business plan together and doing the repackaging and stuff
I just
like
thought
that.
it was great.
Oh,
when you say repackaging, do you have to relabel it and stuff when it comes over here?
We did.
Okay.
This is our brand. This is something that we put a lot of time, energy, a little bit of money and effort into.
Okay.
And we wanted to protect the Uruguayan tradition, having the Mercado de Puerto stamp on there, the son of Uruguay, which is on their national flag, but also, modernize it and update it for the U.S.
So do you buy the bottles unlabeled? Is that how it comes in? Do you buy the juice and then bottle it yourself? Do you label it yourself once it gets here?
Our bottling and labeling and packaging is all done down in Uruguay. So we have
done down there and
absolutely.
then shipped intact. As
Correct.
Is.
By the container coming right
Can you
here
buy
to
this
Miami
in
or
Uruguay?
Porto. Yeah, actually, recently, our supplier liked our label. That he's actually utilizing this in Uruguay. And when I was there in April, I saw a girl doing it. It's actually on my Facebook, and she was drinking it out of the bottle. And at first, I thought that was awesome.
Those crazy Uruguay. We're going to Uruguay.
But I was
Sounds like a party.
I was like, that's our label,
Yeah.
And so that was kind of exciting, and seeing her drink it out of the bottle. So I did a little YouTube clip. It was
So I'm
cool.
sure everybody's wondering. We usually get to this at the end of the show, but I'm wondering, where can I buy this here?
Most of our accounts, because our warehouse is down here in Fort Lauderdale or in the Fort Lauderdale area, but we
That's
also
fine.
have some great accounts in Miami and West Palm.
You do?
Our home base, if you will. It's
uh-huh.
funny how Marines go to Marines.
Yeah.
Semper Fi, always faithful. Definitely fell true.
Always strong.
7th Street Wine Company. They're a little wine
I love
bar.
those guys.
Oh, they're awesome.
Oh, the
Chris Phillip,
Chris.
Hank the Tank.
Those guys are great.
They're awesome.
They
And
really are.
you got.
Have you ever been there? Anybody ever been to 7th Street Wine?
I know
Jason,
just-
it's right when you come through the tunnel.
Oh, okay.
Going south from Broward Boulevard on US 1 in Fort Lauderdale. It's right there on the right. A beautiful little
I'll look
place,
for it.
gorgeous area right there. That street that they're on and everything, and kind of a, Shady Grove and everything. But those guys, what's cool about them is they have. And I'm sure
Those
they have you on
machines.
it is the machines.
Yeah,
Where you can just
absolutely.
go in, you buy the card, and then you put it in, and you can just try 1 ounce samples. So we can go there, and do they have you?
They do. They have the Tantera. I believe the Don Nelson is up as well.
Okay.
Obviously, they're not putting the sparklings up there, but they have that close to the register. And
Right.
that's
I'm sure that
like,
those guys are so cool. They just pop a bottle every
Yeah.
once in a while and pour it for people as they come in. And
Absolutely,
everything.
absolutely. But the other Marines. I don't know if you guys know Ben, who opened up Blind Monk in West Palm. But
do know Ben.
He's given us great opportunities up there. He
Actually,
carries all of our wines. And
The guy who runs Blind Monk.
The Coral Ridge Country Club. That's one of my good customers.
They're actually up there as well.
Jason does
Yeah.
an IT.
Yeah.
Has an IT company.
Jackie and Debbie there. They've picked up our wines.
Those are good people.
I don't know if you guys know the Kirsta and her brother Aaron at Market 17. They do
don't
some
know
great
them.
things with
Is
the
that on
Connaught
17th
wine.
Street?
It is right there
Okay.
on 17th Street, right there before the bridge. It's kind of in that location, tough
I
to
gotta
see,
drop
but they
in.
have some signage and
I
stuff
gotta
like
drop in.
that.
Absolutely.
So, and then down in Miami, we got the Happy Wines. I'm not sure if you're familiar
Oh,
with
of course
Happy
I've heard of that. Yeah.
And they do a lot of business for us. Lorenzo's and. Really, we're willing to talk to most of them right now, privately owned businesses.
How come privately
because
you can't get into like the ABC without it?
We just got into Hillstones a few months ago, and that was
What
a
about the
huge
Crown,
opportunity.
ABC,
Medio by the
Total
glass.
Wine, Whole Foods? The chains. How come you're not in those?
At first,
time.
it was starting out,
Uh-huh.
and we really valued the relationship with the privately owned places.
Okay.
But we're now ready. I mean, that's where we're trying to go.
Okay.
We've done as much as we can with our own 2 feet and our
Right.
mini sales force and sheer will. That now we're ready to start getting into some of those larger
because
chains.
I deal with those people on a daily basis. All
they
of
would
them.
move.
I deal with everybody,
Yeah.
and I would imagine that they would be thrilled to have you.
That's what we
Especially
see
when
the
you
potential.
walk into their South America area and there's not a lot of wines from Uruguay in there, and you can fill a void for them.
absolutely.
Some great
And-
product,
and
by
that's
the way.
what we're hoping to do in the coming months. So
Fantastic.
you know,
All right, so moving on here, there's 3 in the line. Did we try the 2 sparklings?
Yeah, you got the
I don't remember.
the Medio Rosé.
Oh,
and
yes, definitely.
This
Now, is
is-
it a dry rosé?
This is a little less dry and slightly sweeter.
Okay.
But really, I don't try
Are
to
you
guess
familiar with
which
how
one-
rosés are made?
Yes.
Okay.
The exposure to the grape. but
Exactly.
you can probably
so they
expound
just
on that in
well, no,
technical-
I mean it's pretty simple. Yeah, it basically just touch the skin. So with a lot
Guess
of
which grape this is touching.
well, is that Tanat?
Yeah, it
Okay,
does-
so the
it does.
Tanat's the
So
red.
here's your intro.
So well, and also it's very hard to use a red grape. Now, if you're familiar with, let's say, a sparkling or a champagne, for instance, when they say Blanc de Blanc, that means the white inside of a white grape. Okay, but then there's Blanc de Noir, which is the white inside of a red grape. Now, to get a good real, he's not ready. He might be ready. Here we go. To get a good real Blanc
ready.
de Noir and not have any pink tinge in it is very hard to do.
Ooh,
Oh, absolutely.
That's
Because
pretty.
you
It
can't,
smells good,
you
Yeah.
can't really get that bleed out. So what you do is you make a wonderful rosé. Now, I love dry rosés, and dry rosés are all the rage. I mean, to
Yeah.
me. But I mean, a good semi-sweet
Tastes
or
like-
one that's just slightly sweet. A little bit of, what do you got off
Tastes
it?
like watermelon.
I was just going to say watermelon. I haven't even looked at it yet, but
You were just catching
this is
me.
beautiful. Okay, because here's right off. Okay.
Yum.
So Tanat, to me, I'm not familiar with the grape, but
That's
to
like
me it
Jolly
seems
Rancher.
very indigenous to the region, of
Liquid
course.
Jolly Rancher.
I
Yeah,
don't know
man.
if that's if it's a European vinifera, and that means that originating in Europe. But to me, it seems that it's probably an indigenous. That means originating in the region, and I can tell by the earthiness of the grape. I can tell by the rusticness of the grape when I put it to my nose. Jason smells fresh fruit. Jason smells a lot of interesting
Watermelon.
Yeah, watermelon. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I'll take watermelon. It's-
but the range is there. I get almost like a berry type of sangre off of it too, like almost like a what I call a blood orange or a blood, that can really juicy kind of deep dark berry.
And this one's 30% to not. So that's
yes, beautiful. Now let's talk a little bit about Tanat. Basically,
yeah. Actually, it's a great segue.
it's it's the flagship wine from Tantera, which is the next coming up. But you can use Tanat, a rich, dark, concentrated. I mean, all these words are being used to describe Tanat. They can bring out oak and tannins, and have chocolate and tobacco notes. I mean, for a grape to be able to sustain that kind of texture and flavor, it must be a pretty big, bold grape with a nice, thick skin. Have you seen some on the vine?
I have. While I've been down there, I've
Tell
definitely
me about
taken
the
advantage.
clusters. What are the clusters like? Big,
well, I don't know that.
clusters or little teeny ones?
No, they're big and bold, and obviously the skin of the grape is
Nice and-
a little bit more dense than
That's nice.
maybe the other grapes, and
Are
that's
they
where you
big
get
grapes
that
or are
tannic
they
core.
littler grapes? They look like
Um,
they'd be bigger to me by
shoot.
the way they smell.
Middle,
Middle,
average.
Okay. Yeah. Well, those are all very. I know it
Sorry.
seems. I know it seems strange, but it's all very relevant.
I wasn't keying in on those details.
Okay, that's
due
fine.
to my
Well, next time you go back,
Yeah,
you can
no,
look.
I will.
Because those are the
learned a
types of
lot.
characteristics that tell you about the grape. They'll tell you what it's going to taste like. They'll tell you how it's going to turn out. They'll tell you whether you want to blend it. They'll tell you whether you want to age it. Because the ratio of density to skin to the middle of the grape is a good indicator of bitterness levels to Brix. Now, Brix is the sugar content that it can hold and the amount of attenuation you're going to get off the grape, how much you can ferment it. So knowing those actual specifics of the grape. Now, a Concord grape, perfect example, is a big, juicy grape with a thin skin. What do they make out of it? Grape juice.
Jelly.
Right. But a Cabernet grape, you couldn't even eat it. It's little, tiny, almost like a berry. It looks like a blueberry almost. I mean, it's
Right.
small and it's bitter and it's
Thick
mostly
skin.
skin. And what do you make out of it? Bordeaux.
So it would be middle to small because it's known for its concentrate of skin.
beautiful. Good, nice
And it's
concentration
that
of
much
sugars.
healthier for you, right? It keeps you
Absolutely.
from having heart attacks.
Oh, God.
When you're
Well,
drinking
I
it
forgot
every
what
night.
they call that stuff.
Antioxidants?
It is an antioxidant.
Riboflavins or something like that?
No,
or?
that's close.
I can't
Jay, but
remember the
there
correct
is something that
term.
comes out of grapes that's like a
probably have it somewhere.
you have to consume more than humanly possible in order, but it's supposedly it's a huge anti-aging aspect. But
We'll work on that.
we'll work on it for you. This is
I'm looking it
fantastic. So I love this. I haven't tasted it yet, but most of the way that we enjoy wine is to look. Now, if we look, it's a rustic color. It has almost a brick red
You
to
didn't
it.
taste
It's
it yet?
It's a raggedy type of red. It doesn't have a dark rose hue or anything. It's almost that kind of like what I call rusty. See how
Resveratrol.
rusty it is?
Yeah.
Brett.
You see how-
With the white background.
Resveratrol?
Yes, resveratrol. It's a very rusty color, and that'll show you that the grape itself has somewhat of a lighter in skin, a lighter inside, and like I said, you said medium, and that'll show you that the fact that it's a little larger, that means that there's more grape skin rounded around that inner part. So, and then also the fact that it gives me those really fresh fruits on the nose tells me that it does give a nice amount of middle to grape skin ratio when it's actually being crushed or falling under its own weight. But as I taste it here, I mean, this is refreshing, huh, Jay?
Yeah, it's delicious, actually. I really like that. It's good.
This is perfect for backyard or Florida anytime, right? You like this one,
Absolutely.
Justine? I do. This is one you like?
Perfect for our weather here.
No one can hear you.
It's great for that's okay. No, I can hear her. That's all. I'm having a conversation with her, Jason. She said it's perfect for our weather here, and that's exactly what these kinds of wines really translate to. Now, what kind of foods do you like to enjoy with this one? Some nice cheese.
It's kind of funny. They would eat the sausage or the steak off the paella.
Right. The grill.
Yeah, absolutely. Down there in Uruguay.
Dio's got his mouth watering.
Yeah. But here we've seen
cheese,
some of our
want
accounts like Mishi's. They've paired it with desserts. Market 17's done the same
definitely.
thing. Some of them are using them as
I would
aperitif.
make a nice cream brie with this one because those creams aspects of the cheese will cut through some of the sweetness, some of the fruitiness, and then there's a very nice frizzante aspect of it. That carbonation is like a fifth mouthfeel, so to speak, to where it really cleans your mouth, it cleans your palate, it gives you a nice fifth sensation of an aspect of the wine that you don't really understand until you put something else in your mouth, like a piece of cheese or a cracker, something to base it off of as a cleanliness, a crisp, a brisk. A scouring of the mouth,
Right.
And this seems like it would do that.
And a lot
really
of that's
wonderful.
been exploratory, Brett. These sommeliers have really been playing around with it. I've been bringing them something that I said, hey, this is good because, I don't have the technical knowledge, and I've been amazed at the different things that they're doing with it, whether it be aperitif, whether it be pairing with a dessert.
You know what I'm getting on the finish here? A nice peppery spice. Has anybody ever
Tanat
you get a pepper spice, George?
Maybe now that you
Sorry, my mouth's full.
No, seriously.
I'm still I'm like into the watermelon here.
But no pepper spice?
Now that you mention it.
Yeah. No, it does finish, and I think that has a lot to do with the grape as well. So we got some red. We have some Tanat open up. Okay, so
Tanats.
yeah, we're doing good here. We got plenty of time. We never have enough time on this show because I can drink and talk about wine all day. If you haven't noticed,
Let's drink more.
So we will. We don't have a bucket.
Bring the boot or bucket.
Le boot. S'il vous plaît, garçon.
It's kind of the different way of cleaning it out.
There you go.
I always do that. Or
Yeah, that's how Ed Roberts cleans his glasses.
Yeah, I pour water in and drink the water. People think I'm gross sometimes.
You want to use the old-fashioned way?
So talk to me a little bit about the
Tantera?
Tantera wines, please.
Okay, the Tantera wines come from a vineyard called Castillo de Viejo.
George speaks Spanish. What does that mean, George?
The castle of the old guy.
Are we switching countries here? Is this?
We're still there. We're from the San Jose region.
Oh, okay, San Jose,
source.
Uruguay, not San Jose, California.
Single
Or
source,
San Jose,
handcrafted. Basically, Castillo Viejo is another family-owned vineyard, as are many of the vineyards down there in Uruguay. All handcrafted wines. The Tantera line is one. It's actually making a goal to actually go national, and we kind of decided to represent it down here in Florida.
Now, what I read from the label, okay, the
bold.
Tantera is the name of the
yeah.
company. Tanat is the actual, and the beautiful thing about another beautiful thing about South America is they use single varietals on the label. If you'll notice in France or Germany, there's no single varietal; they blend grapes. But in South America, they use the single varietal like they do in California, so you know what you're drinking, what type of grape it is, and that's always a very good thing for American consumers. You're in marketing, Justine.
We like to know.
All right, you got marketing too,
Yeah.
MBA for crying out loud. You guys know that good marketing sells wine, and the more understanding you have of a product makes it clearer for the consumer.
Absolutely.
So you see,
Especially
that,
with wine.
Yeah, so they see that they're not, and then I also see that it says San Jose. Now, what that does is it gives you a specific region. That would be like putting Napa or Sonoma on the bottle coming from California.
Absolutely.
So that's going to tell you that 75% of these grapes come from that region of the country, and that breaks it down for you very nicely. So, all right. So tell me a little bit now. The Tanat, we talked about the grape a little before. Once again, this here I get a lot of rust on this. Now, what I like to do is there's a lot of ways to drink wine. The first thing we need to do is look at it. Let's look at this one.
Wow,
Okay.
do it
I like
with
to
you.
take a nice piece of white paper. Okay. And I like to look at it. Let's look. We look at the pitch and the halo. to see the density in the middle as opposed to the rim on the outside. That shows me this wine is fairly young. You know, and it's not. If it was more separation, you know, it's perfect to drink now. It's, you know, these aren't wines that you necessarily want to lay down for many years, because, like we said, the
different than the normal Tannats from France. You know, because those you're not going to approach for a good 10 years plus.
Okay, so the Tannats from France. So this is European vinifera. Okay.
Yes.
Very good.
Actually,
excellent.
Absolutely.
Okay. So basically, yes, this one here, it seems that it's a little bit younger and it can be drank young. And then I look at it, it's definitely, see how it's like a rusty color? Put it up to a piece of white paper. See what I mean? You see how it's more rust than it is deep dark ruby red? You know, that gives you a lot of aspect of the grape, and it's going to show you that it's more of a rustic grape, and that tells you, like I was talking about before.
Back to the Medio Rosé.
Exactly, back to the Medio Rosé. And then when we see that, we put it up to our nose. Now, Jason, do you get dried fruits, raisins, prunes off the nose on this one?
I would say almost raisins.
Right? Do you get raisins? Everybody? Prunes,
I'm getting raisins.
dried fruits,
Yeah, absolutely.
almost like a port type of character to it.
Which they have great.
And
this
is there a little bit of smokiness, maybe?
No, I'm getting like a musty, like a leather.
Absolutely. These are all dried aspects. Now, normally you would get these aspects from a old world wine.
I'll have to be honest too. The first sip, it wasn't my favorite, but the second sip really laid it in
as your
there.
tongue acclimated.
I gotta say, from the smell, I thought it was going to be way stronger than it is, and it's opaque. It's very dark, but it's very light tasting compared to what I thought it was going to be like.
Well, Tannats are traditionally known for their tannins, so you're typically going to have a wine with a lot of backbone and power. But what Tanterra has been doing, and what a lot of their wineries have been doing, is they've been smoothing those out so they're a little bit more approachable. You drink a Tannat down in Uruguay, which is a table wine, it's a whole different story. You gotta have it with their cuisine.
So
but now to make them
the American market,
not just the American, but also the international. And now Uruguay as a whole, and these wineries that are embracing the exportation, which is very significant to them. That's what they're doing.
See, now I find this very enjoyable, and as a matter of fact, it's very surprising. I was not expecting this type of tannin to come through on this wine. There's a nice, now talk about aperitif. This is a wonderfully acidic wine.
Really?
Yeah, it's balances acid, and it's something that it gives you a puckering aspect in your back to middle mouth.
Yeah.
Correct?
It like cleans your mouth.
It does. It really
it
does.
scours. That's what we talked about, and it gives you a really nice chewiness. And what that does is that causes your glands to create more saliva. And when they do, that's that literal mouth-watering effect that causes you to want to eat food.
My mouth is
I had
watering.
some food right now.
It is, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It
we should have brought some.
We got some French dip sandwiches from Arby's.
We should have brought some crackers.
Microwave some au jus for you.
My fault on that.
We're getting cheese and crackers delivered after the show for the after party.
That was not what I was expecting, but it was a pleasant surprise. So I'm very, very happy.
And the Tanterra wines, they have a few different blends. They also have a Tannat Syrah, Tannat Cab. We're not going to drink them all on the show for sake of time, but they're doing well, and they've put them on they've done very well on the international shows, but just as recently as 2011, San Francisco and LA International Wine Fairs, gold medals, silver medals as red blends.
Have you been to any shows with the Medio Medio?
I haven't yet. I mean, it's still in the introductory phase. I'd like to get there. I haven't gotten there yet, but the brand, the Tanterras, have actually been to some of the international as well as some of the domestic in San Francisco, LA, and they're doing very well. And the judges are surprised. I mean, they're independent judges, non-paid at these international wine shows, and they're doing well.
Talk to me about price. What are some of the retails? We talked about value. What are some of the talk to me about Medio Medio. What can I expect to pay for a premium sparkling wine?
Well, as I mentioned before, you're going to be paying less than you would for maybe a sparkling Asti or something like that from Italy.
Yeah.
And you're going to be paying in the $10 to $15 range.
That's
I mean,
excellent.
it all depends on where you're getting it, which account, and so on and so forth.
But that's fantastic.
It's great value, and
It really
it couldn't be better. Now, the Tanterra Tannats, you're right at the $15 mark as well. You might
These
be a
wines
little bit higher,
could
but
easily. And by the way, you could probably hold on to that Tanterra for a little bit. It's a little young. It's a little young. I was wrong
you
when I said
could.
I actually admit I was a little wrong when I said this one looks like it could be drunk a little young, because you know what, from the amount of tannin that I tasted and the amount of acid, I think you could sit on that wine a little bit longer, and or you could enjoy it with a really nice creamy cheese, something that would break through the acid and really and cream it out.
great
for you a
food
little
pairing
bit.
wines for
Yeah.
sure.
These are very food friendly, and like you said, anything grilled meats.
Absolutely.
Any type
Meat
of really
sauces.
nice, soft, ripe cheeses.
Mm-hmm.
would work really well with these. I'm just enjoying myself. These are wonderful. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to enjoy even more wines because I see here we have the Don Nelson Ariano.
Tannat Reserve.
The Tannat Reserve, which I can't wait to get into. I mean, these are just absolutely wonderful. 2006, that one seems like it's ripe and ready to go.
Ready.
And we're a bit ripe here, as we always are, right around this
Loosening
time.
up.
On By the Glass on SoFloRadio.com.
Spanking terrestrial radio with a nail paddle. SoFloRadio.com.
When you're ready to actually lose weight safely and steadily while being monitored by a physician, the Weight Loss Clinic of Dr. Kim Jacobson is there for you. The family medicine practice was established by her father in 1956 and continues as a medical practice that now specializes in weight reduction. Dr. Kim Jacobson joined the practice 20 years ago as both a family medicine practitioner and weight loss specialist. The Weight Loss Clinic utilizes a combination of appetite suppression medication and vitamins to produce great results, usually 3 to 4 pounds per week for most patients. Now you can change your lifestyle while still enjoying your own food, just less of it. They offer a choice of 2, 3, or 4-week plans. So whether you just need to lose a few pounds or a lot, the Weight Loss Clinic of Dr. Kim Jacobson can help you. They're located at 5454 Northeast 4th Avenue in Miami, just 2 blocks west of 54th Street and Biscayne Boulevard. Call them at 305-751-0091. They'll be happy to answer any and all of your questions. That's 305-751-0091. Get started on a beautiful new body today with Dr. Kim Jacobson and the Weight Loss Clinic.
Broward Tennis. Broward Tennis. Broward Tennis. Announcing our fall 2012 Broward Tennis Flex Leagues. Now available for Broward, Miami-Dade, and Palm Beach counties. The Flex Tennis League concept is different from the typical league format. The Broward Tennis Flex League is designed with your busy schedule in mind. Simply register at browardtennis.com for a league that corresponds with your tennis skill level. You're then assigned a schedule with players at your level who are located in your area. Then contact your opponents, schedule your match, and play when and where you wish at your convenience. After each match, report your scores via browardtennis.com and watch yourself climb in the rankings toward a league championship. browardtennis.com. Get your tennis on.
Hi, Byron Eggers here. I want to tell you about my friends Lynn and Jeff of Embroid Me, located right here in Delray Beach at the southwest corner of Atlantic Avenue and Congress. Embroid Me is truly your one-stop for all your personalization needs. Lynn and Jeff are the guys that can show you how to get your company separated and noticed from your competitors. From embroidered and printed apparel for your staff to promotional products for special events and giveaways, they do it all. Lynn and Jeff have been making all my custom shirts and hats and giveaways for years, and you can't beat the price. Family reunions, birthdays, 1 shirt or 1,000, they can handle it. 100% satisfaction. Stop in and hang out in the showroom like I do. For all your custom apparel needs and specialty gifts, it's Embroid Me. Call them. Tell them Byron sent you. 561-279-0953. That's 561-279-0953. Embroid Me.
Say, remember when radio was fun? Now it's dead.
Because deregulation has allowed one massive corporation to spread its tentacles like a giant octopus, absorbing radio stations around the globe. And that's why you hear this.
SoFlo Radio will stand and fight the corporate monolith. SoFloRadio.com. SoFloRadio.com.
Hey, welcome back to By the Glass. We're having a great time. And, we're enjoying some really wonderful wines. And I got to say, this is the first time I've ever even had a Tannat or even really heard about it or talked about it. And it being a European grape, shame on me. And shame on you if you haven't gotten out and tried one.
Yeah,
and shame on you even further if you don't go out and seek one out right now. Because Daniel is, taking a lot of his
They're for
time and
sale.
effort to get this grape into the people. And you know what? I got to shake your hand for that. Here, shake my hand. Because you know what? There's a lot of people out there that they talk a good game, or even people I know everybody in the business, wine, beer, and spirits. And there's not a lot of people that are introducing something new and wonderful. And it's a real pleasure to have you on By the Glass. I mean, some of the first people out there that are going to be introduced to Tanat are going to be introduced to it from this show, and Medio and the whole concept in Uruguay wine. I think that in a few years this whole thing's going to blow up, and you're going to be able to point back to the time you were on By the Glass talking about this, sharing some wine with some friends.
I sure hope so.
Yeah, I really think it's going to happen.
Absolutely.
We were just talking a little bit during the break about the Albarino, and it's a white grape from the Galicia region of Spain that people didn't know much about a few years ago. We did an Albarino show. Do you guys remember?
Vaguely.
Yeah, whatever. He's just there for
We're
good
drinking
look.
alcohol.
He's just there to look good.
Oh,
he's just there to look good.
I just show up every
That's why we
day.
keep him off
He does a
camera.
fine job.
He does. But basically, and it's one of those things that you get into a few sommeliers. I think you guys should hit South Beach. Do you hit South Beach at all?
I would love to. I mean, we have a few. Sushi Samba's
if you
giving us
walked
a
up
shot.
to a few, because the thing about Miami, there's a good thing and a bad. Miami, it's a good thing and a bad thing. They're
The
not.
traffic?
They're not like. They don't adhere to any certain rules, but that could work for you because you could walk in there with a case of something they love, and they'll call you, and you just go sell it to them, and they'll call you back. You know what I mean? That's how it starts, and then you get a couple people. You use it as a tasting platform because they don't care that you're not. This distributor or that. If they can write you a check or give you some cash and bring in a product that they think is going to work and you can do it at a good value, they'll use it and they'll put it on their little By the Glass, list right there for, and see how well it does. And that's a tasting platform for your wines.
I would love that nothing more. And, the sommeliers that are most open to kind of new wines and experience, and they have the clientele that appreciate trying something new, especially when it doesn't suck
There's
and
a
it's
ton,
good.
There's a ton of little great bodegas.
So,
the fact that
absolutely.
it's from Uruguay.
And that's why we're also looking for distributors that have a sales force.
I bet
I
bet you there's an Uruguay area in Miami where there's a lot of people from that country.
That's a great. You might know the Don Davis, Doña Polina, Doña Tota. That's the Uruguayan cuisine, and they've been some of my best customers with my Medio. And
I would talk to them and see if there's like a little area. I mean, the Cubans got Cayocho, and where do the Uruguayans live around here? You know what I mean?
Well, we're on Cayocho.
You guys are? You're on Cayocho?
We are, with Happy Wines, absolutely.
And, I think, the good thing about the Latin community is they embrace other Latin
they do.
community.
They do, and that's been a very...
Dio's shrugging his shoulders back there. I think that they do when it comes to wine and
kind of
food
like
and
the
stuff.
gays, too.
Yes, exactly. Well, you know what? You can go into Wilton Manors. I'm sure that you'll get a lot of business
We're
there.
in Wilton Manors.
You are? You're in Wilton Manors?
Naked Grapes, to right us out.
Oh, I
So,
love
yeah,
the Naked Grape.
yeah,
That's a great
absolutely.
place. That's fantastic. So you're doing good, man. You're out
we're,
there.
We're hustling. We're hustling.
You're hustling. You're hustling. You're
I just need we're trying to find that next step with that distributor
it's
where
gonna
we
happen.
can.
Hey, Brett, you asked about how many hectares?
Hectares, yeah.
8,500.
Now hectares are basically like acres.
Yes.
8,500
Acres to
is
grow.
that's not tremendously huge.
Not a lot? Okay.
No.
It does say they have it in 15 of 19 departments as well.
The departments are states, correct?
Yeah.
And
correct.
the states average
Look at
about
it the
the size
same
of Rhode
way.
Island.
Oklahoma, Rhode Island, yeah.
Oklahoma. That's
Oklahoma
big.
would be the Canelones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty good size. And you get about 15 states about the size of Oklahoma. That's pretty good.
No, you're. I apologize.
Yeah.
Uruguay as a
Uruguay's
whole,
like the
they-
size
the
of
whole. I was
yeah.
gonna say. Yeah, I was gonna say.
No,
yeah.
It's like the
Okay,
size
so
of a
about the size
county.
of Broward
You're
County.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Okay, that's
Correct.
cool. That's very interesting. And so, I mean, there's not a tremendous amount of production. is my point here. The yield isn't very high, but the quality is right there. It's fantastic. We're cruising right along here. Let's open up something. We got another one open. We're gonna move right on. Talk to me about this Don Nelson Arellano. Let me look at the label and see what I can get off of this. So this is beautiful. So right here we have the producer, Don Nelson Arellano. We have the Tanat, which is the grape. You have the Canelones, which is the region, and then you have a limited edition and a special reserve 2006. So this one, it's laid down a little bit more. It's a little older. I can tell that 14% alcohol is a lot of tannin and a lot of alcohol for it to. I bet you this one's got a little bit more of a lushness to it, a little bit more of a luster. It pours beautifully opaque. This is gorgeous. George, hold on.
I don't even want to talk to ruin it because really this wine speaks for itself, and I'll give you a little bit more information after you try it. But
no, absolutely. So when I look at this one off the bat, I mean, you folks at home can see the beautiful. Now this is a ruby red. This is that dark, almost violet hues. There you go with that violent hues. George wrote that down as a band name.
Yeah, you're not shining a light through that.
Violet hues. When you look at this, I see is a beautiful oil on the top of it, just a really nice luster.
It's also very dark.
That's
It's
okay.
very
We
dark.
all
You
forget
see how
about the Avecta.
it kind of you see a little bit more of that pitch to halo, a little bit more separation, not much, but it's starting to separate a little more. You see how that
Still has
outer
a little
rim-
rust though, like you're saying.
There's a little bit of
I think
rust, but
that's
you
that
see how
black.
that outer rim is a little bit more water, where it's kind of separating. Those tannic acids kind of fall towards the pitch, so that tells you it's a little bit older. And then when we look at this one, we like to do is we like to give it a little bit of a swirl. And what we do in that swirl is we look at viscosity. Now this one has a much greater viscosity. And the alcohol that stays in the very thin film on the outer part of the glass, it slows. It's a very slow falling. Excuse me. Smaller legs, which tells me that it has a really nice amount of alcohol, a wonderful amount of viscosity, and that has to do with the glycerins in the wine. And the glycerins are a natural byproduct of the actual the pressing and basically when they let it crush under its own weight. What they do with a lot of these, it's a very slow fermentation and maceration. Thank you, Jason.
Ah.
Yeah, I couldn't remember.
He is paying attention.
Yeah, I've used that word 1,000 times. I couldn't remember it.
It sticks in my head.
That's what he
I don't
wants
wanna
to do
know
to me
why.
sometimes. But as it macerates and crushes under its own weight, the very slow fermentation happens, and that slow fermentation will allow the very more of the glycerins to come out, and it'll give you a really nice supple viscosity. So when we look at that, look at how beautiful that is. That really is. We look at a lot of wine on this show.
That's a ruby red right there.
And it falls with a beautiful, beautiful viscosity. So that's a couple of things. You want to look at color, and then we want to look at viscosity, and then when we put our nose to it, what do we really get? Well, right off the bat, I get a ton of oak. Okay.
Yeah, is that what that is? Okay.
Yeah, you get a ton of oak right off the bat, so it's obviously aged in oak.
So
I would
what's this
imagine that if it's a Crianza, similar to a
18
French,
months. 18
months Crianza. So, I'm sorry, French. I'm sorry, similar
Is that
to
a
a Spanish
is that
Rioja.
a fresh oak or charred oak barrel?
No, you wouldn't char oak for this.
Oh.
This would be either probably
Maybe I
new,
would.
I would say that this is probably new French or new American. I
Okay.
would say new French. Because it's too predominant, Jason.
It
to be
is.
charred.
It's there.
It's
Oh
predominant.
no, I said the charred, but the oak's a little
The
prominent.
oak is
in this.
predominant.
Yeah.
And that's where you're going to say that new. Now beyond that, what do we get? Of course, when we can get past that, you want to take a sniff at this one? Tell me what your perception is. Come on, tell me what you think.
Oh gosh, I've had this one so many times.
But get past the oak. What I'm getting is, I get like tar and tobacco. What do you think? You get that too? You guys getting that? What do you think? I get even more than dried fruits. This goes beyond dried
Yeah,
fruits.
it's got
this
something
one
in there.
has a very sustained.
I've always said tobacco with all the tannins.
Right?
Smoky and tobacco. And
She's always said tobacco with all the tannins. Smoky and tobacco. She's very perceptive. And the reason I asked Justine is because women have a much higher perception of sense of smell than men do. Tremendously more. It's just a natural fact. It really is. My wife is one of the most amazing wine tasters. And she's very modest, and we always go tasting throughout the country. And she'll be like, she won't say much, and then she'll be like, that was a spicier Gewürztraminer. And I'm like, whoa. And she nails it every time. So, yeah,
Well,
the women have a really, really great sense of perception.
And I can tell you, she definitely can perceive this one because this is the one which I all of a sudden lose samples from the house. I don't know
No, this
what's
is
happening,
exceptional.
but
This is the one I'll probably be. This is the one I'll be absconding. to
Winding
take
up
off
on
to.
Dwight Lauderdale's. Yeah, never mind.
Anyway, no, but this is fantastic. I haven't even tasted it yet. Oh, but I just got major fig as I pulled away though, and I ate a lot of figs over my last vacation because I was in Mexico. I did.
Oh, yeah, no.
I was in Mexico and I was in an all-inclusive, and you know how they give those buffets and they give you crazy fruits, and it's like I'm gonna eat a ton of figs and dates and nuts, and I'm gonna eat them all, and I'm gonna remember what they taste like. Because why? Because I want to pull them out of wines later. Yes, I'm a weirdo, but that's what I do. And
Yeah,
I
I'm
get a
not
lot of fig on this one, and it's a very dried, wonderful fruit. And this is just an exceptional wine as I taste it. What do you guys think of this one?
I like it. I like the other one better, I think.
Really?
Just because of the tannins. I really like the way that made my mouth.
and
Well,
this
this one
one,
has a
if
tremendous
you- if
amount.
you-
This is fuzzy.
And this
I like just got a fur coat in my mouth. It's exceptional.
Absolutely. They've done great jobs with the tannins
Now,
on the end of these.
let me be quite honest. This bottle from France, from Southern Australia, from California, $50, easily 60, 75, easy.
And you'll find these on the shelves $30 to $35. And
Tremendous
great
value, folks. Tremendous value. You got to go out and try this one. This is exceptional. This one's also available in some.
It is. It's also available at 7th Street. Casa D'Angelo has actually taken this one in and done great jobs
Beautiful.
with it. So
That's-
they're
this
reordering. and-
tremendous wine, folks. As we enjoy all these wonderful wines, And we enjoy them, on a daily, usually on a weekly basis.
Daily
Thursdays.
basis.
We like to do it responsibly.
Truth comes out.
Snap.
Responsibly. Don't drink and drive. Do not overconsume. Never drive while drunk, please. Do not drink under 21. Do not drink while pregnant. Enjoy all beverages responsibly. And try to sit home, and as we say on By the Glass Show, drink to taste. Enjoy the beverage. That's what it's there for. You can gulp a Miller Lite at the bar later, but when you're trying these wonderful beverages we bring to you weekly, please do so in a responsible manner. It's coming to the end of the show, so I like to ask you to shamelessly plug yourself even more than you have before. If there's anything else you want to talk about, do you have a website? Do you have Twitter? Are you on Facebook? And if not, you better get on.
No, absolutely. It's pretty simple. Medio.us. So medio.us is our website.
And we can go there, and do you have a place where I can find all
that's
these
where
wonderful...
you can see all the accounts.
That's
and
great.
we found that important. Just put everyone on the website. But, of course, we have to do the Facebook so that we can interact and show them the tastings that we're doing and so on and so forth. So that's been a big part of it. And, really appreciate you guys bring.
You don't have Facebook and Twitter?
Oh, we definitely
tell
do.
Me about it. What is it?
It's Medio Medio.
Medio
US.
US. That's your Facebook?
That is our Facebook, and there's a direct link from the website.
To the Twitter. What's your Twitter? At Medio Medio? Yeah. Better get on Twitter.
Yeah.
Man.
The Twitter link is
get on Twitter.
Just
because honestly, it just helps. Get as much free publicity as you possibly can.
Absolutely.
It's real simple to set it up. Oh, absolutely.
There they are.
Yeah.
I'm going to like you right now.
Yeah, George is going to like you. Everybody go.
Please
George
like
the page. You can find him through George. We'll post it out. We'll get it out
and
there.
If you know any distributors, and
always you can go to Buy the Glass Show, my website, to find these guys and to find all the information on them. And you know what? Buy the Glass Show you can get on iTunes. Go to Buy the Glass Show with Brett Hubbard. And you can subscribe, and it'll push the show right to your iTunes subscription. You can listen weekly and get all these wonderful information and free entertainment and great guys like Danny James over here and his wonderful wife Justine to come into the show. And as we dwindle down, I'd like to thank Ed Roberts as always for putting together a great show.
Thank
Mr.
you,
Ed Roberts behind the scenes, and we hope to get out there and try some of your wonderful wines. I can't wait to go to a nice restaurant. We're going to go to some of these places.
Replay next week.
Replay? Next week?
Next week, yeah.
Why?
What
are you guys
Tuesday
doing?
show. Tuesday show next week. We're going to be doing a holiday wine show.
Yeah,
a holiday wine show. And you know what? These are great holiday wines, folks. Medio and Medio, definitely perfect for celebration. It goes great with turkey, especially one with the Chardonnay blend, and also great for New Year's Eve. This is an awesome alternative to classic champagne because it's a wonderful sparkling. That's fantastic. Have a great night. We'll see you next week. Peace, love you. Good night.
SoFloRadio.com and SoFloTelevision.com.